I have worked as an air traffic controller at one of the world's busiest airports. And in the lunchroom one day, there was a group of veteran controllers sitting at another table who were pretty crude. And then one of them said he grew up in a Christian home where his parents forced him to go to church and he hated it and never wanted to go back. And he mentioned the name of the church. And when he did, it was like a dagger in my heart to think, that's the kind of church I go to. Because of that name being there, it caused me to really feel a lot of pain. But I didn't say anything. I waited until everybody left the room except he and I. And as we were washing our dishes at the sink, I said, "Dennis, I didn't know that you went to church." And he turned to me and shook his fist in my face and said, "Don't you ever talk to me about God, religion, or anything like that. I have to work with you." So I didn't. But I tried to offer him the same dignity and respect that I would offer anybody. I really did a lot of self-questioning, I guess. You know, am I going about this wrong? For what reason would someone respond that way when it was a rather innocent question? As I thought through the process, I went everything from I'm discouraged and don't want to offer up those kind of questions, but it also caused me to go back and take a look at why would he respond that way? I did ask some of my brothers to help me pray for this guy. I'm kind of out of options. I don't know what it's going to take. About 8 years later, I was working at a radar scope one day, and he walked up and then asked me, "What time does church start on Sunday?" And I told him, and Dennis showed up. He brought his wife. After a few times of attending and going to lunch with my wife and I, he came to me and he said, "Sandy, I know the way that I've been living has been wrong, and I need to correct that. But my wife has never heard about Jesus Christ or any story from the Bible. Would you study with her?" And my wife Cindy and I sat down and we studied with Dennis and Sharon, and she became a Christian after that study, and I was so happy. And a few years later, I was working in Seattle, Washington, and he called me and he said, "Sandy, I'm selling everything that I have, and Sharon and I are going to go off to a Bible training school, and then we're going to Cambodia to be missionaries." And I was just shocked at that transformation. I said, "Dennis, you've come a long way from shaking your fist in my face." And that transformation has been priceless to watch the change in that individual. I know Dennis had to hear me telling stories about mission trips. I use those as talking points to get conversations started with people. And then you end up with the follow-up questions where people will say, "Why did you take your vacation time and go do that?" And it gives you an opportunity to talk about what Christ means to you. I've often thought of myself as being a missionary, but a vocational missionary, kind of like Paul made tents. And so I think about myself at the workplace as being God's representative there. When I get discouraged at work and I think that maybe nobody's watching, nobody's paying attention, maybe my witness is not effective, rather than thinking about moving on, I just need to think about living a Christ-like life because somebody's watching me all the time.